Knitters will say knitting's the best. Crocheters will say crochet's the best. And I do both. Hey everyone, it's Tom here, and today I'm going to show you how to make some crochet lavender. I'm using some Paintbox Simply Chunky yarn in purple for the lavender. On the packet, it'll tell you what hook size to use. Go down 1 or 1.5 millimeters. You're also going to need a darning needle to weave in any ends. You'll need some scissors for snipping off any ends that you have. You'll also need some kind of stick, rod, flower wire, whatever you've got, even a chopstick, whatever you've got lying around the house to be able to use for the stem. And then to hold it all together and onto those sticks, just get some PVA glue, or if you've got a hot glue gun, anything that's going to stick it down and that dries clear. Give yourself lots of slack on the yarn, because then it always makes it a lot easier when you're starting off. First thing we're going to do is make a slip knot. Take the piece of yarn, the end of it, and you're going to loop it round and make a bit of a loop, like so. Once you've made that loop, you're going to fold it over this piece of yarn. So you're going to fold it like so, and it creates like a little circle with a line through it. Then you're going to take your crochet hook and you're going to scoop up that middle part, and as you scoop it up and you pull down on these two ends, it creates a little knot that is adjustable, and then you're just going to pull the end that makes it slightly tighter onto your hook. First thing we're going to do to be able to actually start making it is to chain 70. So to create a chain, what you're going to do is use the working yarn, which is the yarn that's attached to the ball. This is now the tail piece of yarn. So take the working yarn, we're going to do a yarn over, which essentially is bringing the yarn over the hook, and then you're going to pull that piece of yarn through that loop. That is your first chain. You're going to do that again by putting the yarn around and pulling it through the loop with your hook. And you've got to go all the way up to 70 chains. Round and pull through. Round and pull through. Continue chaining until you have 70 chains. The thing that I love about knitting and crochet and crafts is just the feeling of being able to switch off, to be able just to have a moment of peace, have that tranquility, and be able to just focus in on something. The world is so busy, the world is so fast all the time. So taking the time to slow down and unwind is important. I think the best thing that I've ever knitted, other than this lovely vest, is the Olympic cardigan that I made back in Tokyo, because it's a thing that kind of kickstarted everything with people knowing about my knitting passion. And for me, that's what I find to be important, is being able to pass on the passion that I have for knitting and crochet onto other people. There's always such a big debate. Knitters will say knitting's the best. Crocheters will say crochet's the best. But I'm one of the few that are like a hybrid, and I do both. I like to knit and I like to crochet. They both have different uses for different things. Clothing, I like to be knitted. But everything else, like making toys and making things that you have to make to be a little bit adjustable, crochet is a little bit easier. Now that we've made our 70 chains, see those V's? That's 1, that's 2, that's 3, that's 4, and so on. So you can count to make sure that you have 70. Count back 3 stitches from your hook. Into this stitch, we are going to work 3 double crochets. So we're going to yarn over, go into the stitch, pull the yarn to the front. You're going to have 3 loops on your hook. Then you're going to yarn over, pull through 2 hoops, and then you yarn over and pull through the final 2 loops on your hook. We're going to do that twice more. So we're going to yarn over in the same space, pull through 3 on your hook, yarn over, 2 on your hook, yarn over, 1. You do that one more time into that same chain, yarn over, into the chain space, pull through, you've got 3 on your hook, you're going to yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through the final 2. So there we've got 3 double crochets into the 3rd chain from your hook. Into the next chain space, here we are going to slip stitch. So you go straight into the chain, pull the yarn all the way through that loop and also the loop that was already on your hook. Now we're going to chain 7 like we did at the very beginning. So 1 and 7. Now we're going to slip stitch back into where the chains are coming from. So we go back into that space. We're going to pull the yarn all the way through the whole thing. So then you've got the chains that are kind of attached to the same chain space. And then we're going to move on to the next chain space by going through the loop and doing another slip stitch into the next space. And then we're going to chain 7 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and slip stitch back into the same space that we came from. And then we're going to slip stitch into the next space. And again, you guessed it, chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Again, we're going to slip stitch back into the same space that we just chained from. And then we're going to do the same thing all the way down. So we're going to slip stitch, chain 7, and slip stitch back into the same stitch. Robbie wanted to learn at the same time as my mum. So Robbie has had a little crochet lesson and he knows how to chain. It was like a proud moment for me because I was like, my dream. It would be amazing just to sit on the sofa with Robbie or sit somewhere and just be able to have a knit and a natter or a crochet and a little cackle. I don't know, there's something about being able to sit down and have a little chat over a cup of tea and a nice little crochet or knit. I don't know, it's special. So to attach the stem to the lavender, what we're going to do first of all is add a little bit of PVA glue to the pointy end, which is going to be the top. You're going to take your lavender and you're going to lay your PVA glue bit right in there and just squeeze the top of it a little bit just so it attaches and dries a little bit, because once you've anchored that down, the rest becomes a lot easier. We're just going to wrap the lavender around your stem. You'll figure out a way to make it look like lavender by just giving it a bit of a squeeze up. Try and keep it bunched up, because when it's bunched up is when it looks the best, because it looks a little bit more legit lavender. As you keep wrapping it round, it'll start to look nice and pretty. And as you can see, if you do loads of these, when you have them all together and you lay them out and you put nice wrapping paper around them, it's such a lovely gift. That's gonna stick on there. And then what I'm gonna do is add, again, you guessed it, some more PVA glue to the bottom here. Anchor that bit down and around and really kind of get that tight at the bottom just to make sure it's extra secure. Tie a little knot around it with those little ends. So tie it around and secure down there, just snip those ends off, snip. That's what the lavender looks like. And now we're gonna wrap it with some green yarn at the bottom and we're done. Add some PVA to the bottom. I'm gonna anchor the bottom part of it down by doing the bottom part first. Hold it for a little second. You can twist the rest and it will go all the way to the very top by just twisting, 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 and twist your yarn all the way until it meets the lavender. Just as you get to the top, add some more glue, and then once you've added a little bit more glue, you can anchor the top of that green bit down, like so. And then wait for that to dry, and then once it's dried, you can snip off the bottom end and the top end, and you'll be done. So that's the lavender done, and I'm gonna add that to the rest of the bouquet. We've got our tulips, we've got our roses, and some lavender I made earlier. And the nice thing to do with the lavender is make it in a few different shades of purple, because then it adds a little bit of depth and texture to it. So in that one goes, add it in, and look at that. It's so pretty, it's like great. Centerpiece for a table, gift, whatever it is, I think it's great. And the nice thing is, they're not gonna die and you won't forget to water them.